Okay, let's unpack this. I was walking past a movie theater the other day, actual physical poster in the window, and it hit me. Do you remember when a movie trailer was just a trailer? Like, here's some cool explosions, maybe a kiss, a witty one-liner, and then the release date.
And that was it.
That was it. That was the pitch.
It feels like a different geological era, the golden age of simplicity. Yeah. You saw the dinosaur, you bought the ticket to see the dinosaur, right. Transaction complete.
Exactly. But if you look at where we are right now, early 2026, it feels like Hollywood has completely forgotten how to do that.
It does.
It's like the marketing machine is broken.
Yeah.
Or maybe not broken, but stuck in this very specific, very weird, high-pitched gear where they simply cannot sell a film without manufacturing a rumor that the co-stars are having a torrid, life-ruining extramarital affair.
It's the Showmance strategy on steroids, and honestly, it's starting to feel a little bit desperate. We've moved past will they, won't they, into are they destroying their families for art?
And that brings us to the absolute train wreck we need to talk about today. We are diving deep into what might be the messiest, most confusing, and frankly, the most cynical press tour I think I've seen in the last decade.
It's really up there.
We are talking about the reimagined adaptation of the Bronte classic Wuthering Heights.
A literary giant. I mean, a story that is, on its own, incredibly fraught with obsession, toxicity, and, ghosts.
But the drama on the page is absolutely nothing compared to the drama they are trying to spin off the page. So for anyone living under a rock, here are the players.
Let's lay it out.
We have Margot Robbie, massive star, producer, happily married, a mother. We have Jacob Elordi, the internet's boyfriend, serious actor.
Yeah.
Very tall man.
Very tall.
And we have a marketing narrative that is trying to convince us that these two have lost their minds for each other.
The studio is pushing the narrative of a whirlwind romance that spiraled into what they're calling toxic codependence, which from a, psychological standpoint is a fascinating thing to brag about in a press.
Come see our movie. Everyone got traumatized making it.
Precisely. Come watch the emotional fallout.
But here's the thing. The vibe check from the public.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is buying it.
No.
And I don't mean, we're skeptical. I mean, people are finding it genuinely creepy. Words like disrespectful, cringe, and jumping the shark are being thrown around everywhere.
It feels like a violation of the contract between the audience and the studio, you know? We know you're selling us something, but don't treat us like we have zero pattern recognition.
So here is our roadmap for this deep dive. We're going to break down why this specific Showmance strategy is backfiring so hard right now. We need to talk about the economics of why they keep doing this. Then we are going to get into the specific stunts. And I am warning you now, we are going to spend a significant amount of time discussing a handmade tombstone because I cannot let it go.
The arts and crafts portion of the episode, I'm ready.
It's crucial. Then we have to discuss the husband fact, Margot's real-life husband, and why his involvement makes this go from silly to kind of dark.
Yeah, that's where it gets really murky.
And finally, we have to talk about the movie itself because the choices there, from Victorian slutty to Charlie XCX, are a whole other can of worms.
It is a perfect storm of bad, a perfect maelstrom of questionable.
So let's start at the top, the showman. Why is everyone so angry about this? I feel like 10 years ago, we ate this stuff up. Brad and Angelina, we were obsessed.
Well, think about the information environment we live in now compared to the Brangelina era.
Totally different.
We are living in an age of hyper-surveillance and hyper. The average moviegoer today understands the machinery of Hollywood better than industry insiders did. We know what a PR setup looks like. We know what a contract looks like.
We've seen the playbook.
We've seen it 1,000 times. And there's a concept in psychology called the persuasion knowledge.
Okay.
Basically, once you know someone is trying to trick you, the trick doesn't. In fact, it has the opposite effect. You feel insulted. You feel like the person trying to trick you thinks you're stupid.
That's the feeling. It feels condescending. Like, oh, look at the pretty actors touching hands, you simple peasant. Go buy a ticket.
Exactly. And look, sometimes it still works if there's a shred of plausibility.
Right.
Take Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell for Anyone But You. That was a masterclass.
It was.
Why? Because they had genuine chemistry and they played into it with It was fun. You felt like you were in on the joke.
Right. It felt like a rom-com happening in real time. It was charming.
But here, it feels forced. And we have other examples where it just crashes and burns. Do you remember the Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson thing?
Oh my, I blocked that out. Please remind me. That sounds like a fever dream.
So there was this brief, bizarre narrative pushed that Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson had fallen in. The story was pitched as this heartwarming, two older souls finding each other late in life kind of thing.
Okay, I can see the angle.
It was designed to be sweet. It was designed to make you go, ah. And then, the moment the project was done, the veil dropped. It was revealed to be complete total fiction, fanfic, essentially, as one source called. And the backlash wasn't just, oh, they broke up. It was, oh, you lied to us. You manufactured our emotions.
The fool me once factor.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 1,000 times, which is what Hollywood is doing. Shame on the entire industry.
Yeah.
The audience is sitting there thinking, we know Margot Robbie is married. We know her husband is the producer. Why are you insulting our intelligence?
Speaking of insulting intelligence, we have to talk about the visuals. The Vogue cover. Have you really looked at this thing? I mean, zoomed in.
I have spent more time analyzing that image than I care to admit. It is a masterpiece of discomfort.
It's supposed to be Wuthering Heights. It's supposed to be the most passionate, destructive, soul-merging love story in English literature. And yet, when I look at that cover...
They aren't even looking at each other.
Not even close.
That's the first. You have a narrative built on toxic codependence, on I cannot live without this person. And yet in the photo, they look like two strangers waiting for a bus at different stops.
And Jacob Elordi specifically, I need to talk about his face because I have seen that face before. That is the face of a man who has been asked to hold a pose for 3 hours and is currently dissociated.
He looks completely detached. His eyes are 1,000,000 miles away.
One of the reviews I read said, you can tell Jacob Elordi's heart ain't in it. But I think it's deeper than that. He looks like he's on picture 50. He's been doing it for 2 hours, and he's running a mental checklist of what he's going to order for lunch.
A kebab.
Yes, definitely a kebab.
100%.
He's standing there, dressed in this brooding Victorian-ish gear, supposed to be channeling Heathcliff, this dark force of nature, and his eyes are just screaming, I hope the craft services truck is still open. I could really go for some spicy lamb.
And that disconnect, fatal for a campaign. There's a critique that's been floating around that everything is sexual, nothing is sexual.
Ooh, say that again, that's good.
Everything is sexual. The poses, the implied nudity, the headline, but nothing is sex. Because sexy requires connection. It requires tension. It requires us to believe that if the camera turned off, these two would still be gravitating toward each other.
There's no spark.
When you look at Elordi and Robbie here, you get the distinct impression that the second the photographer said cut, they both pulled out their phones and walked in options.
Hollow. It's checking boxes. Okay, hand on hip. Okay, brooding stare. Okay, we're done. Where's my kebab?
And that hollowness, that feeling of being scripted, it permeates the interviews, too.
Oh, it does.
Which brings us to the linguistics of this press tour. Because the things they are saying, well, human beings don't talk like this.
No. Let's get into the codependency script. I want to drill down on the Fandango interview. Margot Robbie is talking about her mental state during filming.
Yeah.
And she says she became codependent with Elordi. She says, and I'm quoting here, I found myself starting to look around to see where he was. I was really unnerved and unmoored, and I felt quite lost like a kid without their blanket.
Okay, let's put a pin in the word unmoored.
Please, because I stopped dead when I heard that. My brain just hit a wall.
Be honest. When was the last time you heard a human being, in a casual, unscripted conversation, use the word unmoored to describe their feelings about a coworker?
Never, unless I was dating a 19th century sea captain, or maybe a poet who had a really bad day at the docks.
Exactly. It feels written. It feels like a copywriter sat down and thought, what is a word that sounds literary and vaguely Bronte-esque?
Totally.
And they picked unmoored. It doesn't sound like an emotion. It sounds like a line of dialogue. Breaks the immersion because it's perfect. It's too on the nose.
And the comparison to a kid without their blanket. It's trying so hard to be vulnerable. Oh, I'm just a little girl lost without my big, strong Jacob.
Yeah.
But it comes off as so fake.
It's also infantilized. And this is a theme we're going to see come up again with Elordi. There's this weird desire to frame these grown, wealthy, powerful adults as helpless children who need each other to survive.
It's a very strange angle.
Yeah.
And then she doubled down on it. She admitted she felt jealous when Elordi had scenes that didn't include her.
Which, again, strains credulity to the break.
I don't believe that for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie is a producer on this film. She's literally the boss.
She knows the call sheet.
She knows the schedule. She knows the budget. The idea that she's sitting in her trailer biting her nails because Jacob is filming a scene with a horse? Come.
It's the craft services theory of actor psychology again.
Right.
The most likely explanation for what an actor is doing when they aren't in a scene is or sleep or calling their agent. They are professionals at work.
They're checking their email.
The idea that they are consumed by a green-eyed monster because their co-star is working is a nice story for a press junket, but it doesn't align with the reality of being a working actor on a set for 12 hours a day.
But wait, we have to get to the crown jewel of this nonsense. The Valentine's Day stunt.
Ah, yes. The tombstone.
This is where I need us to really visualize this scene. I need you to close your eyes.
Okay, I'm there.
So, Robbie claims in Vogue that Elordi gifted her an extravagant display for Valentine's Day during the shoot. He filled her room with roses. Okay, fine. Rich people stuff.
Standard operating procedure, big romantic gesture, check.
But then, the note. She says he wrote the note in character as Heathcliff.
And the quote was, "You made my day, and as Heathcliff filled my room with roses."
First of all, Heathcliff would never do that.
Never, not in a million years.
Heathcliff would dig up a corpse or hang a dog. He wouldn't send roses. But let's put that aside. The gift included a 3D tombstone-shaped arts and crafts object.
A handcrafted tombstone.
Stop. I need you to picture this. Jacob Elordi, he's 6'5", he's a movie star. He's in a hotel room in the English countryside. Where did he get the supplies? Did he go to a British version of Michael's?
Did he ask the concierge for glitter glue and a glue gun?
Did he have safe? Was he sitting there on the floor, tongue out, focusing really hard, cutting out a piece of gray cardboard into a tombstone shape?
Writing Catherine on it with a Sharpie.
It's an utterly absurd image. And that's why the public is rejecting it. Because we know that if that object exists, and that's a big if, Jacob Elordi did not make it.
Oh, absolutely not. That is not happening. That was an assistant. That was a poor, overworked PA who got a text at 11 p.m. saying, "Hey, I need a fake tombstone for a method acting bit. Can you whip something up?"
And make it look rustic.
Yeah.
Like he did it himself, but good.
Right. And that's the critique. They are using method acting, which used to be this revered, intense process, as a shield for what is essentially a marketing. It's slop.
Slop marketing.
It's not an artistic choice to get into the headspace of a tormented lover. It's a prop for an interview anecdote. It's something to talk about on a talk show.
It turns Heathcliff into a theater kid doing a project for extra credit.
Precise. And it devalues the actual work of acts to performance of a performance.
But if we zoom out from the glue sticks and the glitter, there is an element to this that makes it more than just silly. It makes it morally ick, and that is the husband.
The elephant in the room. Tom Ackerley.
Margot Robbie's husband. They are partners. They run a production company together, Lucky Chap Entertainment. They have a child.
A very successful production company.
And yet, this entire marketing camp is built on the explicit idea that she is obsessively, toxically in love with another man.
To the average observer, this feels incredibly disrespectful. You look at it and think, how does he feel about it? It touches on that primal fear of infidelity, of being public.
But here is the twist, and this is why Hollywood is a different planet. Tom Ackerley is the producer of the film.
He is the one signing the checks. He is the one approving the marketing strategy. He is in the meetings where they discuss.
So this isn't a secret affair. This is a PR setup that the husband is in on. He is monetizing his wife's fake infidelity.
And the question that everyone is asking is, does that make it better or does that make it worse?
I feel like it makes it so much worse.
Many critics agree. The consensus is that it makes it sicker.
Sicker? Wow, that's a strong word.
Because if it were a real affair, it would be tragic, it would be human error, it would be messy and painful, but real.
Understandable on some level.
But this is calculation. This implies that they value the opening weekend box office more than the dignity of their marriage. It's the commodification of their personal life, of their relationship, for profit.
And it's not like they need the money. I mean, they produced Barbie. They are loaded.
Exactly. Why degrade yourself? Why play out this bizarre cuckold narrative in Vogue when you were already successful? It speaks to a deep narcissism in Hollywood.
How so?
It's this belief that their profession is so important, so profound, that the audience will buy into any fake emotional turmoil they serve up. They think so highly of what they do that they assume will be captivated by the art of it all.
There was a quote I saw that was brutal. Someone said, releasing a sex tape would be 10 times more dignified than this marketing camp.
That is harsh, but I understand the logic.
Me too.
A sex tape, for better or worse, is raw. Two humans engaging in a human. This pressed plastic, cynical manipulation. It feels like they think we are just sheep who will graze on whatever fake drama they feed us.
Look at how much we suffered for our art. We made paper tombstone. We were unmoored. We were artists.
It's a closed loop of self-congratulation, and the audience is left on the outside, rolling their eyes at the sheer.
Now, speaking of looking inside the process, we need to talk about Jacob Elordi specifically, because there is a pattern emerging here that goes beyond just this movie.
Yes.
This isn't the first time he's been in a codependent work dynamic.
No. If we look back at his work on Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
With Mia Goth.
Right. Mia Goth described a dynamic with Elordi on that set that sounds suspiciously similar to what Robbie's describing now.
What would you say?
She talked about having to
protect him
Yes.
from the script, the monster makeup.
That's the thing. It was vague. But she talked about bringing him vitamin C, bringing him ginger shots, sending him pizzas to his trailer.
So she was his nurse. Or his mom. It sounds less like a passionate co-star and more like a caregiver.
It was described in the source material as being like a weird-looking Millie Bobby Brown image trying to do that off-screen. It paints Elordi as this helpless, fragile figure who needs strong women to keep him alive and functioning on set.
It's babying. That's what it is. It's this weird infantilization of a grown man.
It is, and this connects to a really fascinating theory proposed by Kristen Stewart.
Oh, I love when K-Stu gets philosophical. What's her take?
So Stewart has talked about method acting and gender. Her theory is essentially that acting is inherently silly.
100%.
You are a grown adult playing pretend. You are putting on costumes and making faces and crying on cue. It is objectively ridiculous if you think about it too hard. Right. And her theory is that for men specifically, that silliness can be embarrassing. It threatens their masculinity. Vulnerability is hard. So how do they bypass the embarrassment? They use method acting as a
magic trick. I like that.
If I'm in character, if I'm suffering, if I'm unmoored, if I'm making tombstones in my hotel room, then it's serious. It's art with a capital A. It's not just playing dress up. It validates the vulnerability.
So Elordi, acting helpless, needing ginger shots, needing to be protected by Mia Goth or blanketed by Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
That's his way of justifying the emotional labor of the job.
That's the theory. It frames his vulnerability as a byproduct of the intense artistic process rather than just human neediness or the basic demands of act. It allows him to be the center of attention, the one who needs care, without having to admit, hey, acting is draining and I'm a bit high maintenance.
It's not I'm needy, it's I'm meth.
Precise. But here's the problem. When you do it twice in a row with two different powerful female co-stars, the audience notice pattern emerges.
Right.
If every relationship you have on screen is a toxic codependency where the woman has to feed you pizza, maybe that's not a special. Maybe that's just your default setting.
It kills the romance narrative. If he does this with everyone, then the whirlwind romance with Robbie isn't special. It's just Tuesday for Jacob. It's his process.
And that is another reason why the marketing is failing so spectacular, because we can see the pattern. It's not unique.
Okay, we have hammered the marketing. We have analyzed the tombstone glue. We have psychoanalyzed the actor. But we have to talk about the product.
The film itself.
The movie itself. Because even if you ignore the press tour, the artistic choices here are, well, let's say controversial.
That is putting it mild.
We have Emerald Fennell directing, coming off Saltburn and Promising Young Woman. Very distinct style.
Very distinct. And she has said pretty openly that she wanted totally divorced.
Which is always a risky thing to say when adapting a beloved classic. That's waving a red flag to the Bronte fans right there.
The description was that it's an imaginative version conjured up in the mind of a tween reading the book.
A tween?
A tween in, like, 2026.
Now, I need to pause because we need to define something for the list. This movie is clearly aggressively aiming for the BookTok crowd. Can you explain what that means for anyone who isn't scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m.?
Sure. BookTok is a massive sub-community on TikTok that drives huge book sales, but it has a very specific taste.
What is that taste?
It favors spacey romance, certain tropes like enemies to lovers, forced proximity, and high drama. It often prioritizes the vibes and the sexual tension over, say, the literary substance or the historical context.
So they're trying to turn Wuthering Heights, which is a miserable story about miserable people ruining each other's lives and then dying into a spicy BookTok romance.
Exactly. They are trying to fit a square peg of Victorian Gothic horror into the round hole of modern smut. And I use smut in the way the industry does it. Romance novels designed primarily to titillate.
The source material called the target audience, bored women who read too many romance novels.
It's the audience for books like The Housemaid or anything by Colleen Hoover. And there is nothing wrong with that audience. It's a huge market. But Wuthering Heights is not that. It's about class, revenge, ghosts, obsession, and deep existential. Turning it into a sexy romp feels like a fundamental misunderstanding of the text.
And you can see that misunderstanding in the casting, right?
Yeah.
Margot Robbie is playing Catherine. Catherine is supposed to be a teenager. She dies.
In the key parts of the book, she is 17 or 8. Her immaturity is the whole. Her tragedy is that she makes these rash, terrible decisions because she is a child who doesn't understand.
And Margot Robbie is?
She's around 36.
That is a 20-year age gap.
It completely changes the story. If you have a 36-year-old woman making the decisions Catherine makes, she doesn't look like a tragic victim of circumstance. She looks like a terrible person who should know. It changes the entire context.
And then there are the costumes. We heard they are insane and make zero sense for the time period.
Which brings us to the Victorian slutty screening.
Oh, God. This story, I need to hear it again.
So Margot Robbie hosted a private screening for about 20 of her girlfriends. And the dress code, her words, was Victorian slutty.
Wait, hold on. Victorian slutty. What does that even mean? Is it corsets with nothing else? Is it showing an ankle? What is the spectrum of Victorian slutty?
I assume it involves a lot of lace and not a lot of fabric. But the vibe she described was unhinged. She said the women were frothing at the mouth like rabid dogs.
Frothing at the mouth over a movie.
And she said, and this is the killer line, if Jacob Elordi walked in right now,
That is terrifying and also very revealing.
It is a visceral image, but it tells you exactly who Robbie thinks this movie. She thinks she had made a movie for women who want to devour. She thinks she has made a thirst trap.
But is that Wuthering Heights? Is that what Emily Bronte was going for?
No, that is Magic Mike in period dress. And that is the core con. They are selling heat, they are selling obsession, but they are stripping away the gravity, horror, the literary weight of it.
It feels like a 2-hour music video.
Which is reinforced by the soundtrack choice.
Oh, yeah.
A bespoke soundtrack by Charlie XCX.
Charlie XCX doing the score for a Bronte adaptation. I mean, I love Charlie XCX, but that is a choice.
It screams 2026. It screams trend. It's trying so hard to be cool and current.
It feels cheap. It lacks weight. It's like they're afraid of silence, afraid of the source material's actual tone.
And this leads to the biggest artistic problem, I think, with the whole project, the conflict between timelessness and trends.
Right. Because great adaptations, think of the BBC Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth. They last forever. You can watch that now and it still works.
Exactly. When you adapt a classic, you have a choice. You can make it timeless or you can adapt it for right now. This production went full right now.
All in.
All in. By using Charlie XCX, by leaning into the BookTok aesthetic, by using modern slang in the marketing, they are stamping this film with an
It's milk. It's going to curdle.
In 5 years, this movie is going to look incredibly dated. The Victorian slutty aesthetic will be out. The Charlie XCX tracks will sound like oldies. It will be so obvious who the audience was for.
Contrast that with something like Anya Taylor-Joy's Emma.
A perfect counterexample.
I loved that. It was bright, funny, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it felt correct.
Yeah.
It felt true to Jane Austen.
It was stylish, yes. The costumes were beautiful, but it respected the source material. It didn't try to be a music video. It didn't have a press tour where Anya Taylor-Joy pretended to be having an affair with.
Thank God for that.
It trusted the story to be enough.
That's the key, confidence. Emma felt confident. Wuthering Heights, at least the marketing of it, feels deeply insecure. It feels like they don't trust the story, so they have to layer on the fake affair, the tombstone, the Charlie XCX, the controversy, just to get us to look at it.
It's jumping the shark. For press tours and for adaptations, they are throwing everything at the wall because they don't believe in the foundation of the house.
And the result?
The result is what some critics are calling slup.
Slop. That is a heavy word. What does that really mean in this context?
It implies a lack of nutritional value. It's content for content's sake. It's noise. It's a bunch of stimuli, sexy images, pop music, fake drama, designed to be consumed quickly and forgotten. It's calories without sustenance.
So what does this all mean? If we wrap this up, we have a press tour that has alienated the audience by treating us like idiots.
Check.
We have a star whose method acting looks like a cry for help or a nap.
Check.
And we have a movie that seems to be confusing horny for literary.
A perfect summary. It is a cautionary tale. Hollywood often underestimates the audience. They think they can feed us any. But this backlash, the cringe factor, the eye-rolling, shows that people are paying attention. We are smarter than they think.
We're all far too cynical for true showmance. We've been burned too many times.
We are. The parasocial contract has changed. We want authenticity, or at least we want a lie that is entertaining and respectful of our intelligence. This was neither.
So here's the final thought I want to leave everyone with. The question is, will they learn? Is this the moment the Showmance press tour finally dies, or will they just get better at faking it next time?
That is the fear, that next time the tombstone will be made by a professional prop master and the unmoored comments will be written by a better scriptwriter. We'll define.
Well, next time you see a co-star duo looking lovingly into each other's eyes on a red carpet, just ask yourself, is that love? Or is that just a really well-funded marketing budget and a deep burning desire for a kebab?
Always check if they look hungry. The eyes never lie about lunch.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Keep your eyes open, don't buy the glitter glue, and we'll catch you on the next.